In this video, I'll show you how to query a Google BigQuery database and display the results in a Zendesk Support ticket. I'm going to use an app called FactBranch, and with that app, it works exactly the same with Zendesk Sell and Zendesk Chat. So first thing you need is a FactBranch.com account, and once you've created the account, you'll be forwarded to this screen. And as we want to show data in the FactBranch Zendesk app, this is what I'm going to select. Then that creates a very basic data pipeline. A pipeline always consists of a trigger. In our case, that would be the Zendesk app that triggers the whole pipeline. And in the end, we have a display node that displays the data that we got from the BigQuery database. Now, what's missing in this pipeline, of course, is the BigQuery node where we actually query the database. And we will use a REST API node for that because we're going to use BigQuery's REST API. So first thing I have to do is head to data sources and actually connect my BigQuery account. You can select Google BigQuery here. Forward it to the OAuth flow to allow read access, of course. And now it's connected. So when we go back to our flows and the flow we've created, now we can create a REST API node. Because our Google BigQuery data source was the only data source that we had, it was already automatically selected here in the authentication tab. And now we just have to enter a lot of boilerplate code, actually. So I'm copy pasting this. So we want to do a post request to the queries endpoint. And in our case, I've created a very simple demo project called FactBranch. In your case, this here will almost definitely be different than FactBranch. Yeah. But you will use the queries endpoint as well. Good. And the request body is, for example, this. So the important part is up here, the query itself. I'm just running a demo test query, so I'm selecting all properties from my customers table, and I'm matching by email address. This @email is the special BigQuery placeholder syntax. We're defining a placeholder down here in the query parameters, and we're calling it email of type string. And the value we're defining in here. And this is the placeholder syntax from FactBranch. So if I want to take data that we got from the Zendesk app that comes from the ticket, we have, for example, email or phone number, but I want to use the email address, and I can copy the variable from here and paste it here. And this trigger.data.email will be replaced with by anything that we get from the Zendesk app. Now, if I run this, we should get a valid response, but we don't get any rows yet because we don't have a test@example.com email address in our database. But we have alice@example.com, for example. So this is how you can change the test data to just try out different versions of your data. If I save and run again, I should see, yes, I'm seeing a row. This is the special output format of BigQuery. It's a bit convoluted, so it defines an array of rows, and this is probably called F for fields, and then the values itself. And the rest is a lot of meta information of the query you just ran. Okay, so let me return to the data pipeline itself to show you what it does. So it gets triggered now by the Zendesk app. Then it takes the data it got from the Zendesk app, forwards it to the REST API node. The REST API node runs the query against your BigQuery database. and whatever that query returns gets forwarded to the final node, which is just a UI display node. And that's the last node we have to define. Because the data that BigQuery returns is so complicated, I've prepared a little template. I'm just going to copy paste here. And this template shows off two things, two different ways to display the data here. So first we have a simple label value display that will loop through all the rows that your query returns and display three values, the three values that we have here. And the second example is as a table. And as you can see, we're using simple HTML here. The templating language we're using is very similar to Liquid and Ginger 2. So if you're familiar with either of those, you should feel right at home. We're using CSS classes that are predefined by FactBranch. So in this case, this styles a very simple and compact table that should be very easy for agents to read. Yeah, good. And once you can of course edit the template here. And once you're happy with the output, it's time to go back to the data pipeline. And the last point is to install the Zendesk app itself. You'll find everything you need in the trigger config. So if we go in there, there are links to the 3 different Zendesk apps that we have. We want to install it in support. What we need during installation is the API key. This tells the FactBranch app, or FactBranch actually, which data pipeline to use. And so if we want to use this particular data pipeline, I'm going to copy the API key, head to Zendesk Marketplace, install the app in my account. You could give it a title here, paste the API key. If you want to restrict the app to just some agents, you can enable role or group restrictions here, but I'm not going to do that now. So install the app. And if we go back to the ticket and refresh the app tab, you see that FactBranch loads, and it took data it got from the BigQuery database and displays it just as we've defined in the output. So that's everything you need to show data from BigQuery in your Zendesk support tickets. Everything I've just shown you works exactly the same for Zendesk Sell and Zendesk Chat. The only thing that's left is to go to factbranch.com and start your 14-day free trial.